ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म मुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, ओम ओम। ओम की इस मधुर ध्वनि से किया परिवर्तन। प्रेम शांति सिखा के बदला सभी का जीवन। आदिदेव प्रजापिता श्री, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म मुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, ओम ओम। सोहनी सूरत मोहनी मूरत, ज्ञान के मोती। भव्य मुख पर चंद्रमासी, चमकती ज्योति। दिव्य दर्शन दिव्य वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म मुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, ओम ओम। विश्व में थी पाप की जब घटा छाई, तब विभूति आप जैसी धरती पे आई। एक तार में बंध के सारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म मुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म मुख से मधुर वाणी, बोलते ध्वनियों। ब्रह्म से शिव बाबा पधारे, ओम
Om Shanti. So I hope you can hear me. Yes. So on behalf of everybody here, all the family, and which means at least 9 European countries, we want to welcome you. So I'm not sure, I don't see myself, so I am just showing these roses for you. And so in case someone does not know Charlie Bhai, he's actually the coordinator of Australia, of the BK centers in Australia. And he's also one of part of the first generation of double foreigners who came in the 70s. So he's also a pioneer for us. And I think I can say that many of us over the years have taken so much benefit and so much inspiration from your dharna, from your constant benevolence, and all the what you inspire us through, not only through your classes, but through your life. And so we want to welcome you, and we want to thank you for being here with us.
So thank you so much, Gopi. I'm so happy to be with the family of Europe. And this morning, because it's 3 p.m. here, it's good afternoon in Australia. And so I mentioned to the divine family here that I would be with you this afternoon. And so they sent lots and lots of love to everyone. And especially at this time when we live in such a different world. And in this part of the world, in terms of COVID, there's virtually none. We are operating basically normally. And in most of the country, we have been for a long time. You know, we have all the classes are face-to-face and people coming for courses. But I think Australia has a different karma, because we have natural calamities. And if you remember, last year, there were fires over this country for months and months. It burnt out massive areas. And this year, the other side, floods. So climate change is hitting this country incredibly powerfully. But, you know, I'm at a point in my Brahman journey, my life with Baba, and I think I've been through so many different phases. But I think where I'm at the moment is that I love everything natural. I feel that truth should be natural. And over the last year or so, you know, I've reflected a lot about how I live my Brahman life, how I move forward. And I feel that the most natural thing of all is to fall in love. None of us have to learn how to fall in love. It's a part of our DNA. It's recorded in us to fall in love. And what I find is that when I fall in love, what I find is I naturally remember Baba. It's not something forced or unnatural. It's a natural remembrance. And when I naturally remember, I naturally transform. And when I naturally transform, I naturally serve. I serve just by my face and my drishti, my vibrations, my company. And I really feel, you know, the beginning point, and I suppose this is how I feel about my journey, is to really fall in love. And many times I feel that the cycle is a love story. It's a whole story of the heart being 100% open, a full and complete exchange of love constantly. And as time goes on in the cycle, because of many reasons, the heart closes until it's almost closed. And this life, I think, when it happens in a natural way, is Baba educates us to really open the heart completely. And nothing will make me healthier than when I really invest in that full, open, loving heart. And for me, the golden age is really a world of love. It's an incredible world. And my first visit to Madhaban, or second visit maybe, we went up to Guru Shika. Everyone knows Guru Shika. And in those days, many people went in trance. It was, common. And Daddy Manoharindra was there, and she gave us drishti. Her aim was to send us all into trance. I didn't go into trance, unfortunately. But one brother, one of the foreigners, he went into trance and he was away. And when he came back, we asked him what his experience was. And he said, Baba took me to the golden age. And he said that you can't imagine the atmosphere. He said the atmosphere was just pulsating with love. He said you can't describe it with an intellect of this iron-aged world. A world where there's no duality, a world where there's no like and dislike, accept and reject. And this is an experience recorded in all of us, perfection of love. And when we come to the Copper Age, it's not that we stop loving, we just begin to love the wrong things. So when my love is refocused, when I love my own body, it becomes ego. When I love the bodies of others, it becomes lust and attachment. When I love material things, it becomes greed. It's almost like, what are the vices? They're like perverted forms of love. And so we began the cycle. We were full of love completely naturally. And then we become needy of love. We start to search for love. We invest our heart in relationships. We give everything in our relationships. But there's a huge human dilemma that no relationship is permanent. So whether it's time, whether it's conflict, whether it's change, whether it's death, the object of my love goes. And so the original state of the soul completely open, the heart completely open, it's beginning to close. And around love, there's so much fear and insecurity, fear that that which I love will go. And when we come into the Iron Age, I think we are souls that work properly. We function properly when there's a purity of love. There's a love that is based on absolute truth. There's a cleanliness around love. There is love, but it's polluted love. The love we've received in the Iron Age is what I call conditional love. And sometimes I think it's like love like a tap. It's turned on and off, I turn on the love, I turn off the love. I'll love you, but you have to do what I like. And so love gets involved with a lot of manipulation and control. Or even love becomes selfish love. Because the heart is so empty, all I can feel is you loving me. I see a relationship as you supporting me. And so when this happens, what goes on is that I have these incredibly high expectations. And so when I have these high expectations, I become permanently disappointed in others. Or even there's that superficial love. Sometimes I think that the superficial love is like an iceberg. Not that it's cold, but an iceberg, as we know, is 10% above the surface. We're first attracted to that which is superficial, the physical or the external personality. But as we get to know the 90% underneath the water starts to emerge, then, my love begins to change. Or there's even dependent love. Because I can't really love myself, I depend on you loving me. And that's when we feel trapped in relationships, in the sense that I really appreciate that you support me, but it's like I've lost my freedom. And so the story of the heart is an incredible story for all of us old souls. And at the end of the Iron Age, it's like the heart is so damaged. The heart is so damaged. I can feel so vulnerable that little things, the tiniest thing in relationships, hurt me so deeply. Sometimes there's such deep sensitivity around the way people treat me or what people say to me. So to protect myself, what is the solution? I build a wall around my heart. I build a wall around my heart to protect myself from the hurt and pain of relationships. But that wall may protect me, but it doesn't allow the love to come in as well. And I think that the wall is ego. You know, we build this wall around my heart. And there's this incredible relationship between love and ego. I think the law says, really, the more ego I have, the less love I really feel in my life. And the role of ego, and we know it's sort of at the heart of body consciousness, is that ego makes me feel separate. It's like ego whispers in my ear and tells me, you don't belong. People don't want you. You're different. You're not included. It's such a reality for me, such a reality for me. But it's my ego which is really deceiving me at that time. And so we began the cycle with this huge open heart with a total capacity to love. And by the end of the cycle, the heart is unhealthy. The heart is closed or almost closed. And we step into the confluence age, most of us, with sometimes a broken heart, because a broken heart is a heart that's heavy with loss. I've lost a loved one. Someone has passed away. Someone has died. I've lost a relationship through conflict or separation. So sometimes there's a broken heart, sometimes a closed heart. I've trusted. I've completely trusted, but someone has let me down. Someone has abused or deceived me, abused my trust. Or even an empty heart. These are the hearts that only can take. They only can take, they can't give. Or even sometimes a heavy heart, a heart that's so burdened by the memories of the past, or even perhaps a delicate heart, the heart that's so sensitive and fragile. And I really feel that so much of our life is this, we step into Baba's world, and so much our life is Baba healing the heart. Really, this education is sort of restoring the heart to a healthy heart. And when I recognize Baba, immediately that truth opens the heart just a little bit. And I have faith in Baba. But I think so many of us, we have this true feeling for Baba. But when we sit in front of Baba wanting to fill my heart, sometimes I can't feel it. I have such a yearning to taste that love again, to feel that love making me healthy once again. But I sit in front of Baba and I can't fully taste it. And this is really the journey of the confluence age, not to panic, not to feel stressed, frustrated, not to give up, because sometimes it really takes time for the heart to really open again. And in my experience, I feel that there's some beliefs I hold about myself that don't really allow me to experience Baba's love, don't really allow my heart to open, and therefore don't really allow me to become so healthy mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And the first is a belief I hold that I'm not really lovable. I'm not really lovable. That people won't love me. Baba even won't love me. And sometimes this is such a strong belief that I hold. Even if people offer me love, I can't feel it. Even when Baba's offering me love, I can't feel it. And for me, I think that the solution is just to sit in the early morning hours, sit in front of Shiv Baba as a little child, not even a child, become like a small baby. And it's almost like I step aside from my accumulated ego and allow myself to be loved, give myself permission to be loved. I feel, what is meditation? Meditation is allowing myself to be completely loved. What is knowledge? Knowledge is observing if I'm in front of perfect love, if I'm in front of the lover I've always looked for and I can't feel it, what is blocking it? And even if the heart opens just a few millimeters, it's starting to open. And I feel that when I allow myself, I relax and I allow myself to be completely loved, to me, that's when I start to feel stable and strong once again. But it often needs a lot of patience. So the first belief is that I'm not really lovable. The second belief, I think, is that I'm not worthy. I'm not really worthy to be loved by such an elevated being like Baba. In my experience in Brahman life, this is probably the main obstacle in my relationship with Baba. For 63 births, I've been in all the temples and churches, and I've always said, you know, to the God or the prophet, you are so pure, you are so great. I am so impure, I am so low. It's reinforced in me so profoundly, deeply, that I am not worthy to really be loved by Baba. So I'm sitting in front of Baba, but I'm not really absorbing the quality of love to really heal and transform my closed heart. And that's where I really, from my experience, my first meeting with Baba, which is something I share so many times, that when I was just 2 or 3 months in Guyana, I went to Madhaban in 1975. I was so new, and I met Baba in the history hall for the first time. The double foreigner season, there was 3 of us. And at the end of the Murli, there was maybe 50 people. We were called up and we sat in front of Baba. And as we all know, Baba gives drishti when he meets. And Baba gave me long drishti. And I had an incredible experience. That Baba's drishti was like a laser beam that went so deep into the soul. And it was almost like he scanned the memory tracks, scanned the sanskaras. But his drishti fell on a part of me, which I would call the original me, the elevated me, the pure me. And I felt almost Baba's drishti massage that to the surface and introduced me to who I really was. And what I experienced is Baba saw me up here, but I was seeing myself down here. And in a way, I feel this whole life is stepping into Baba's vision, having the courage to step out of the attachment, the addiction, to this limited vision on myself that I'm not worthy, no matter how much I do, that I'm not good enough and I'm never worthy. This is probably the biggest obstacle to really, really stepping into the ocean of love, which is the treasure of this confluence age, this sense of complete belonging and connectedness, which is ultimately the beauty of this life, which I feel. And the third thing, the first is really, I'm not lovable, a belief, a powerful belief. Second, I'm not worthy. Thirdly, often I can't trust. Over the second half of the cycle, I've lost trust. I've lost trust in everyone, everything, and even myself. And even though I'm with Baba, sometimes it's even hard to fully trust Baba, because that lack of trust, you know, the fear that I will be deceived, that I'll be let down again, that I will be abused in some way. it really takes time to trust. Baba is a perfect example. Baba is benevolent. Baba keeps all his promises. Baba, as we know, is totally trustworthy. But I've got to give myself time to feel that trust. It's almost like I step into the confluence age and I'm rebuilding my heart in my relationship with Baba. And really, I find that when the heart becomes healthier and stronger, everything else begins to fall into place. And sometimes I feel that it's like Baba gives us incredible education how to love accurately. What is true love? And I remember once Avyak Babdada said that true love is loving that which always exists. I really love that. True love is loving that which always exists. If I attach my heart to anyone or anything temporary, I will be deceived. So we step into Baba's world and Baba starts to gently educate us to rebuild and heal this damaged heart that we all bring. And first Baba says to transform my love from things temporary to things permanent, to transform my love from physical to spiritual, to transform my love from love based on emotion to love based on truth. Big difference, huge difference. Love based on emotion is the love that loves you 1 minute and rejects you the next minute. That has made us so insecure. Baba's love is absolutely constant. It's constant, so he rebuilds our trust. And from dependent love to pure love. And so, in a way, Baba's giving us this amazing education. And I feel so much is to have the courage, and it takes courage to really open my heart and trust Baba and allow Baba to completely love me. My own experience when I sit in the early morning is when I feel completely loved, I notice I just cool down. It's amazing. I just feel so settled. My mind stops analyzing and thinking too much. What was the specialty of Daddy Gulzar? She didn't think too much. She just observed. She wasn't constantly analyzing, because I think she felt secure in herself because of her incredible relationship with Baba. And I think that this, to me, is the seed of so much, that it's now time to open my heart, allow myself to be loved by Baba. And really, when I love the right things, that's all I have to do. Everything will transform. When my love is accurate, everything begins to transform. And I feel for me that I love things that are natural and easy. I think that most of us love, it's easy Raj Yoga, isn't it? And I really believe that when I think of Brahma Baba in his life, well, he was the instrument, of course, but I just think he absolutely fell in love with Baba. And that took him beyond everything. It just naturally took him beyond everything. And when you naturally fall in love, you're living in Baba's world, you naturally become detached. It's not a detachment through force. You're pulled beyond influences. And so that power of love almost protects you from so many influences in this world. Anyway, today Baba is also talking about this, that children break all relationships with the old world and connect with one Baba. So today's Murli, the essence of the Murli, sweet children, break off all relationships with the impure world and connect your intellects in yoga with the one Father, and you will not be defeated by Maya. And the question, what is the reason why there are so many obstacles in the sacrificial fire, even though the Almighty Father is with you? It's a good question, isn't it? When it's God, this is God's organization, why are there so many obstacles? And it's an interesting answer too. According to the drama, obstacles have to come, because only when there are obstacles from the devils in this sacrificial fire can the urn of sin become full. The Father cannot do anything about this. It is fixed in the drama. There will be obstacles, but you mustn't be afraid of them. So Baba's saying, will be obstacles. It's inevitable, but don't be afraid. You know, my image of destruction is not so much the physical upheaval in the world. It's like how Baba uses this amazingly graphic language. The urn of sin will overflow. And in a way, that's what we're seeing in the world. The poor human souls, the karmic story is just so great. It's just flowing into everything. It's like the whole world, the urn of sin is overflowing and creating this chaotic world. The song, who is the mother and who is the father? Om Shanti. You children heard the orders of the unlimited Father. You have relationships with your mama and baba of this world on a physical level, because there's first attachment through the body to the mother, then the father, and then to friends and relatives, etc. The unlimited Father says, children, break your intellect's yoga away from your mothers and fathers of this world. Have no further connection with this world, because all of those relationships are dirty, iron-aged ones. Jagat means the world. Break your yoga with impure relationships away from this impure world and connect it to me alone, and then connect it to the new world, because you are now to come to me. It is just a question of forging a relationship. There is nothing else in it. It's all we have to do, really. This whole life is just refocusing our relationships. There is no difficulty in doing this. Those who receive directions will forge a relationship. In the Golden Age, relationships are good at first. They are sato pradhan. Then as you continue to come down, the relationships of happiness gradually decrease. Now you have to break away completely from all the relationships of this old world. The Father says, children, forge a relationship with me. Follow Srimat and break off all bodily relationships. Destruction has to take place. You children understand that the Father, who is called the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, also does service according to the drama. He too is bound by the bondage of drama. People believe God is the almighty authority, just as they believe that Krishna is also the almighty authority. They have given Krishna a discus of self-realization. They believe that he cut the throats of devils with that. However, they don't understand that deities cannot possibly carry out acts of violence. They just cannot do that. It is said of the deities that they observe the supreme religion of non-violence. It's beautiful, isn't it? You know, not even a violent thought. Once I was in an interfaith gathering and I was giving a talk with a Buddhist monk. And Buddhism, as you know, is very much into non-violence. And we were talking about what are the origins of violence. And we came to the conclusion it's first against the self, self-criticism. Putting the self down is like the seed of violence. The deities follow the supreme religion of non-violence. How could they have been violent? People sat and wrote whatever came into their minds. They have defamed religion so much. The Father says there is as much truth in those scriptures as there is salt in a sack full of flour. How can you ever find a few grains of salt in a sack full of flour? It's wonderful. How can you find truth, the real truth, the pure truth in the scriptures? It is also written that the sacrificial fire of the knowledge of Rudra was created and devils created obstacles in that. And that there were assaults on innocent women. That is correct. You now understand what is true and what is false in the scriptures. God himself says, there will definitely be obstacles in this sacrificial fire of the knowledge of Rudra. This is fixed in the drama. It isn't that because God is with you, he will remove any obstacles. What could the Father do about that? It has to happen within the drama. It is only when all of them create obstacles that the urn of sin can become full. The Father explains that only what is fixed to happen in the drama will happen. There will definitely be obstacles by devils because our kingdom is being established. For half the cycle, people become those with such tamopradhan and corrupt intellects in the kingdom of Maya. It is the Father's duty to make them elevated. It takes half the cycle to make you degraded. Then the Father elevates you in a second. It doesn't take long to have faith. So when Baba says, you know, he says it happens in a second, it's really in a second that the recognition and faith kicks in. There are many good children who have faith and they quickly make a promise, but Maya too is very powerful. She brings one storm or other to your mind. Make effort not to bring those into action. All of you are making effort. You haven't yet reached your karmatit stage. Something or other happens through the physical senses. Until you reach your karmatit stage, there will definitely be obstacles in between. The Father has explained, by making effort, you will reach your karmatit stage by the end. Then your bodies will no longer remain. This is why it takes time. The Kamatit stage takes time. You know, when I came in Gyan in 75, many thought destruction would be 1976. There was a belief that in the scriptures, I think it was something like, they said when Brahma's 100 years of age, or Brahma lived to 100 years, some had deduced that destruction would be in 1976. And so I came in Gyan in 75, and I thought, a few months to be Kamatit, no problem. It's now, you know, over 45 years later. So we start very innocently, not really knowing what we're taking on and the challenges that we will all face on the way. There is one obstacle or another. In some cases, Maya even defeats you. This is boxing. You wish to stay in remembrance of Baba, but you are unable to do so. In the little time that remains, you gradually have to adopt that stage. No one becomes a king at birth. A baby has to grow up gradually. This too takes time. There is now very little time left. Everything depends on the efforts you make. You have to pay attention so that no matter what happens, you will definitely claim the inheritance from the Father. You will confront Maya, and this is why you make a promise. Maya is no less. She comes in the most trivial forms. She uses a lot of force in front of those who are powerful. So Maya comes in so many different ways. These things are not mentioned in the scriptures. The Father says, I am now explaining to you, children, you receive salvation from the Father. There is then no further need for this knowledge. You did receive salvation through knowledge. The golden age is called salvation. So, sweetest children, you have been given your aim. You also understand that according to the drama, it takes time for the tree to grow. Isn't it beautiful? It takes time to become Kamatik. No one's a king at birth. All of us have to go through many things. And also it takes time for the whole family, the whole tree to grow. Many obstacles are created. There has to be change. You have to change from shells into diamonds. There is the difference of day and night. Even today, people continue to build temples to the deities. You Brahmins won't build temples because that belongs to the path of devotion. The world doesn't know that the path of devotion is now to end, and there will be victory for the path of knowledge. Only you children understand this. People think that the Iron Age is still in its infancy. For them, everything depends on the scriptures. The Father sits here and explains to you children the secrets of all the Vedas and scriptures. The Father says, forget all of those things that you have been studying until now. No one receives salvation through them. Although you have been receiving temporary happiness through those, it's not possible that you would receive constant happiness. That is momentary happiness. That's lovely. And Baba says, yes, there is happiness, but it's temporary. People are in sorrow. They don't know that there is no name or trace of sorrow in the Golden Age. They have also written such things about that place, that comes a devil used to exist in the land of Krishna, that there was this and that Krishna was born in a jail. They have written many such things. What sin did Krishna, the number one prince of the golden age, commit? All of those are tall stories. They're not true. You now understand this because the Father has told you the truth. Only the Father comes and establishes the land of truth. There was so much happiness in the land of truth, and there is so much sorrow in the land of falsehood. People have forgotten all of that. You know that you will establish the land of truth by following Srimad, and that you then become the masters of that. The Father explains, children, by following this Srimad, you can claim a high status. You children know that you have to study and become the Sun Dynasty emperors and empresses. Everyone wants to attain a high status. Everyone continues to make effort. Very good, firm devotees keep a picture with them so that they are able to remember that one again and again. You may have seen so many religious people have a little locket around their neck with a picture of a saint or Christ or Ganesh or something. Baba says, keep a picture of the Trimurti with you, and you will also remember that again and again. By remembering the Father, we will go into the Sun Dynasty clan. If you hang a picture of the Trimurti up in your room, your vision can fall on that again and again. Through Baba, we will go into the Sun Dynasty clan. Then, as soon as you wake up in the morning, your vision will fall on that. You'll see the picture of the Trimurti. That too, Baba says, that too is a type of effort. Baba advises you, very good devotees make a lot of effort. They keep a picture of Krishna in front of them, so that as soon as their eyes open, they remember Krishna. For you, it is even easier. If you're unable to stay in remembrance easily and Maya is troubling you, what should we do? Then these pictures will help you. Isn't it wonderful what practical efforts Baba offers? I remember once Baba said, children, if you have trouble at Amrit Vela, sit in front of the pictures. I've done it. The cycle, the tree, it's absolutely magical. I just had such deep experiences and realizations sitting in front of the three worlds, you know, the cycle, the tree, all the main pictures. It's a really special thing to do. Shiv Baba is making us into masters of the land of Vishnu through Brahma. We are becoming the masters of the world through Baba. By constantly remembering this, you can receive a lot of help. Baba gives you this advice to the children who feel that they repeatedly forget. Keep a picture in front of you and you will remember the Father and the inheritance. So the method today to help remember more is to keep pictures around. However, you mustn't remember Brahma. When a couple get engaged, they don't remember the agent. Remember Baba very well. And what will happen if we remember Baba very well? Something very lovely. And Baba will also remember you. Remembrance begets remembrance. You now know the occupation of the beloved. There are so many devotees of Shiva And they continue to say Shiva, Shiva, but that is wrong. They speak of Shiva at Kashi, that he is the Lord of the world, and then they speak of the Ganges. So Kashi is in Benares, where the Ganges is. They go and sit on the riverbanks. They don't understand that the Father is the ocean of knowledge. Many foreigners, etc., go to see Benares. There are many big riverbanks. I'm sure many who are listening today have been to the Ganges and maybe swum in the Ganges. I have. I'm sure there's many who've swum in the Ganges. There are many big riverbanks. However, the temple of the Father of all still attracts everyone. Everyone goes to that one. The temple would not go to anyone. The deity idols at the temples attract people to them. Shiv Baba also attracts everyone. Shiv Baba is number one, and then Brahma and Saraswati are the second number, Vishnu. Vishnu then becomes Brahma. Brahmins then become deities of the land of Vishnu. Deities of the land of Vishnu then become Brahmins. This is your business. We are now becoming deities, and we therefore also have to show the path to others. All others take you into the jungle. You lead everyone out of the jungle and into the garden. That was a wonderful Murli the other day about the garden, flowers. Shiv Baba comes and changes thorns into flowers. You also do this business. Only you understand these things. There are no kings and queens to whom you could explain. It is remembered that the Pandavas didn't receive 3 feet of land. Their father was powerful, and so he gave them the sovereignty of the world. The same part will be played again now. The Father is incognito. Krishna cannot have obstacles. The Father has now come, and you have to come and claim your inheritance from him. You have to make effort for this. Day by day, new points continue to emerge. You can see that when these things are explained to others at an exhibition, there is impact. Everything has to be done with the intellect. There is greater impact made at an exhibition. Sorry, is there greater impact made at an exhibition or with a projector? So which one would be more impactful? Baba says, when you explain at an exhibition, you can see their faces. So when it's face to face, it's more impactful. You explain to them, if you understand that the God of the Gita is the Father, then make effort to claim your inheritance. You have to give 7 days to this. Give this to them in writing. Otherwise, as soon as they go outside, Maya makes them forget. It has entered your intellects that you have been around the cycle of 84 births and that you now have to return home. We have to become Sato Pradhan from Tamo Pradhan. Keep these pictures with you. They are very good. So today Baba's really explaining the value of the pictures. Even Birla, etc., do not know how or when Lakshmi and Narayan claimed their fortune of the kingdom. I think, as most of you know, Birla was probably India's richest person, and he used to build a lot of temples around India. You may have seen one in Delhi to Lakshmi and Narayan. You know this, and so you should experience great happiness. Take the pictures of Lakshmi and Narayan and quickly explain to others how they claimed their status. You have to use your intellect to understand and explain all of these matters. The destination is very high. As are the teachers, so accordingly is the service they do. Baba can see who are looking after the centers according to their stage. Everyone has intoxication, but the conscience says, if the teachers are good, a lot of service will continue to take place. Not everyone can be clever. Not everyone can have the same teacher. Whatever happened in the previous cycle is happening now. The Father says, continue to create your stage. This is a deal of every cycle. Isn't that wonderful? The deal of the cycle. You know how they say this is the great deal on television or in the media? This is the deal of every cycle. It has been seen that everyone is making effort exactly as they did in the previous cycle. Isn't that wonderful? It's like we're all unique, and that's how Baba accepts. Now, I think even, you know, I feel for Brahma Baba, this word number-wise, even he felt that when he was so intoxicated when he became the instrument of Shiv Baba, and he expected, I think, everyone else to be the same, but everyone was different. And I think even Brahma Baba had to learn to accept difference, allow people to be different, that everyone's going to follow this path in their own way. And that wisdom is to really deeply accept that, not be disturbed by that, but just understand this is the eternal nature of how things happen. Whatever happens, we say that it also happened in the same way in the previous cycle. There is then that happiness and peace. The Father says, while performing actions, remember the Father. Let your intellect's yoga dangle there, and you will experience a lot of benefit. Whoever does this will receive the reward for it. When you do good, what you receive is good. Everyone has been continuing to perform bad actions because of following Maya's dictates. You are now receiving Srimad. Do good, and good will be done to you. Each of you makes effort for yourself. Whatever you do, you will receive the reward of that accordingly. Why should we not have yoga and continue to do service? Your lifespans will increase by having yoga. We will become free from disease by staying on the pilgrimage of remembrance. Therefore, why should we not stay in Baba's remembrance? If this is right, why should we not do that? Knowledge is absolutely easy. Even small children can understand and explain it to others. However, they are not yogis. Make it firm that they have to remember the Father. Let those who feel that they repeatedly forget. So what's the method if we repeatedly forget today? Keep the pictures with them. So Baba's saying so many methods Baba gives to remind us, and today it's the pictures. Even keep them in the room when you wake up, it will remind you. That too would be good. When you wake up in the morning, as soon as you see the pictures, you will remember that you are claiming your inheritance of the land of Vishnu from Shiv Baba. This picture of the Trimurti is one of the main ones. You now understand its meaning. No one in the world has such a picture of the Trimurti. This is very easy. Whether we write it or not, everyone understands that establishment takes place through Brahma and that sustenance takes place through Vishnu. Acha, acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bapdada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father. I think I could hear everyone then. The essence. Number one, be careful that you are never defeated while boxing with Maya. Create your stage with the awareness of the previous cycle. Remain happy and peaceful. 2, in order to be good to yourself, follow Srimat. Break off all relationships with this old world. In order to be safe from the storms of Maya, keep the pictures in front of you and remember the Father and the inheritance. The blessing. May you be a bestower of knowledge and a bestower of blessings, and fill weak souls with the force of powers. At present, weak souls do not have enough power to be able to take a jump. They need some extra force. So you special souls have to fill yourselves with special power to enable them to take a jump. For this, as well as being a bestower of knowledge, you have to become a bestower of the blessings of powers. That's wonderful, isn't it? We give knowledge through the mouth, but our behavior, our face, our vibration becomes a bestower of the blessings of powers. The creator influences the creation. And so become a bestower of blessings and give your creation the blessings of all powers. There is now a need for this service. And the slogan. Watch every game as a detached observer, and you will remain safe and also enjoy yourself. Watch every game as a detached observer, and you will remain safe and also enjoy yourself. So, very, very lovely Murli, as they all are, and very rich things from Baba. And I just saw a little note that, yes, if anyone wants to ask a question, you're most welcome. When I was invited, it was suggested to share a little bit of news, but maybe there was just a question that the urn of sin, about the urn of sin. It's a very graphic image, isn't it? And I think it's almost like the collective karma of the human race. You know, when it's full, in a way, to me, that is destruction. So when the urn of sin is full and begins to overflow, that's when physically the upheaval in the world really begins to happen. And I think, Baba at that time too was referring to, I suppose, violence against women as well, that this is the urn of sin that is overflowing at the moment, a part of the urn of sin which we're seeing in the world. And we see it filling up so quickly. And I think when it becomes full, it's like that's the tipping point that the final scenes of upheaval will really begin. I was sitting in an RC meeting I think it was the last one, and Bridge Moenbai is now a part of our RC meetings. And one of the RCs said to him, Bridge Moenbai, what is happening? What is happening? Bap Dada's not coming anymore. We're not hearing from Bap Dada, anymore. There's no daddies left. And now more recently, most of us can't even go to a center. We don't even have the Brahmin family around. So what is happening? And his first response to that was that they've been saying that or asking that question since 1936. There's so much change in the confluence age. But we came to the conclusion that it's all good. Everything is beneficial. I love that truth from Baba, because all the supports are being taken away. All the supports are going. Ultimately, this life is about taking the support from one. And so as all these supports, even within the Brahmin world, meeting Avyak Bap Dada, meeting the daddies, having Brahmin family, even access to a center, what do I have left? I have my own connection with Baba. And ultimately, that's when I'm going to transform, and that's when I fill with all my power. So all these scenes are really beneficial at the moment. So I do feel, I can see that some questions are coming in, but unfortunately, I'm not quick enough to read them. So I don't know, Gopi, can you read them, or do I just read them for myself? And
Okay.
Om Shanti Charlie Bhai.
Okay, yes.
yes, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So one question is, you are like a world specialist on love and the heart. So where do you locate the heart in the framework of the mind, intellect, and sanskars?
A world specialist on love. That's an interesting, I'm not sure about that, but it's definitely, my journey is very much a part of that experience. But I remember Daddyji, Daddyji would always say, the heart is in the soul. Baba said that the other day. And I really love it when Baba says to have a loving intellect. And that is love based on understanding. Love based on understanding is consistent love. And meaning that when I have love based on understanding, it's like Baba understands. We have become body conscious, but he can see the original soul. So he maintains love for us. Even if we maintain love for each other, that's like a loving intellect, love based on truth. But when we're body conscious, it's really love based on emotion, which is the love that really is constantly changing. And so I would say that the heart is in the soul, and perhaps you could say the intellect. Baba often says that the Preet Bhuti, a loving intellect is really an intellect that has consistent love, even when someone's mood goes up and down, because you know their value and your vision is on their value. You're not influenced by their fluctuations. So that's really a loving intellect. You have a vision of their beauty and you maintain that even perhaps when they're fluctuating. Yes.
So thank you, Charlie Bai, for your class at the Murli. Could you give an example of how to enable other souls to take the blessings of powers?
According to the blessing today, you know, I think that our image, when I really have a connection with Baba, and my own feeling is that most of us become sweeter, most of us become more peaceful, most of us become more loving. But what's really required now is to become powerful. I think the drama is really requiring us to step into our own power. And when we really live in our own power, automatically, you know, that's the example for others around us. So when I really step into my self-respect, I step back into my own power, my example, the way I respond to situations, you know, with tolerance, with accommodation, etc., then I'm able to really, in a sense, empower those around me. But secondly, I think for me recently, I've really been observing the power of elevated attitude. What did Baba say last weekend? Attitude, vision, the world. And when my attitude, what did Baba say? When you have an attitude of soul-conscious spiritual brotherhood, that is the attitude. And when that vision, then that becomes your reality, that becomes your world. I think you automatically empower those around you because your vision, your powerful vision of benevolence, of love, of selflessness, of kindness, you know, it just empowers the atmosphere, empowers in a spiritual way. It's our example that really, in a sense, bestows powers to those around us. And we feel uplifted when we're around someone who has such a benevolent attitude. Sometimes I think there's 3 steps: awareness, attitude, atmosphere. When my awareness is very elevated, my attitude propels it and it creates a vibration. And the vibration, the atmosphere is like a perfume. It's a perfume that uplifts the atmosphere, empowers everybody in an automatic way. We all know, I mean, we remember meeting Baba. For those of us who met Aviaf Bap Dada, how was that atmosphere? To me, one of the things I loved most was just sitting in those vibrations. It was like sitting in this wonderful bath of purity and power. It was so special. Yeah, so automatic empowerment.
Someone is asking, please give us some tips on volcanic yoga.
You know, I believe that yoga is the sum total of all aspects of my Brahman life. You know, sometimes Brahmins just want to sit and have this perfect connection. It's never going to happen. We have to build a stage of volcanic yoga step by step. And to me, you know, the foundation is the 2 principles of freedom. I remember once Baba talked about the 2 principles of freedom. The first is mine is one Baba and none other. And the second is everything is Baba and nothing is mine. That frees me from so many pulls and influences. That's like the foundation awareness. And the second is my lifestyle. And, you know, I really believe if Brahmins can't have good meditation, I believe it's not when you're sitting to meditate, it's your behavior throughout the day. It's the 18 hours of the day. And if my behavior is not very accurate, I'm a little bit irritated, I gossip, I criticize, those little vikarmas, those little sort of small actions in one sense will pull me. It's like as I build my volcano, it's removing all the things that influence me and pull me. So first, the foundation, the principles of freedom. Second, an accurate lifestyle. Third, a deep practice of soul consciousness. And really, I think we're superficial. We're superficial. You know, the beginning of the yajna, when you hear the stories, the intense atmosphere Baba created of absolutely the practice of being an eternal soul, an immortal soul, was so deep. So that foundation of soul consciousness. Fourthly, it's love. That's the power that lifts me out of the body. It's like when I build the volcano step by step, it releases the soul to fly beyond the body and really have that quality of meditation. So that it's like I'm resonating with Shiv Baba. I'm absolutely present with Shiv Baba, and my sense organs or it's not pulling me away. It's not influencing me. My total attention is with Baba. I'm absolutely present and absorbing the purity and power and love from Baba. And that's when I think there's a sense of lightness, there's a sense of transformation. But it's not just sitting down and going, each part of my life has to be accurate. And then I think it releases the soul to have that natural absorption in Shiv Baba. Mm.
Thank you. So there is also, could you please expand about obstacles have to come, because only when there are obstacles from the devils in this sacrificial fire can the urn of sin become full.
Yeah, as I think we were talking earlier, that you know, if you listen to the history, Baba was saying the other day, the Gita is about the knowledge that God gives when he comes. The Bhagavad is really the story of this amazing story of the yajna and the obstacles it's had to face. And and really, right from the beginning, there's been so many obstacles, and it continues to this day. And in a way, it's almost like, as Baba said, that the obstacles put in front of God's task, that's a sin. It's a karmic account when I myself or when someone really puts an obstacle in God's way. And when so many of those, it's like the urn of sin fills up. And that's the tipping point when destruction can really happen. But I think Baba's was especially referring to lust, to be honest. I think often Baba refers to, you know, people who want to follow a pure life, and yet others put obstacles in their way. And this is how the urn of sin really fills up.
And so one last question. So previously, when finishing the 7 days course, we could proudly announce, and now as an evidence that God is giving knowledge, you can go to Madhuban to meet him. So how do you do now when you come at this point of explaining that it's God himself speaking?
Well, you know, everyone's part is unique. There's those who are in the beginning of the yajna, even those of us who've met Avyak Bap Dada. I've always known there'll be a time when, just like we would say to the daddies, tell us stories about Sakar Baba. Now people coming, they won't have the chance to meet Avyak Bap Dada, but they will ask us, and that's our part. And really, the whole generation that, you know, Brahma Baba established the foundation, and then the daddies continued that until now. And that's where I think we all have to step up. All of us have to step out of the self-imposed limitations. And it's us that have to sustain this next generation. They're not going to meet Baba, but they can watch the Murlis online. That gives a whole feeling. And we can tell them stories, just like we came close because the daddies would fill our hearts with the way Brahma Baba behaved, the way he treated the children, his love. In the same way, we can tell stories of Aviyak Bap Dada and even the daddies, so that we sort of bring them close. We create an atmosphere that connects them to Shiv Baba, Brahma Baba, and the Yagya as well. It's a different time. I believe, I'm not romantic for the past as much as I love it, that each time has its own beauty. And the beauty of this time is that now, and Baba said it right at the beginning, we have to have our own link directly. We can't even go and meet Aviyak Bap Dada in the corporeal world. Now we have to have our own connection. And that's why it's all good. That we now have to really have such a strong connection that as this world changes around us so dramatically and so fast, that I can maintain my connection. So yeah, it's a different time, and we just have to, I think, encourage these people to, watch Aviyak Bap Dada and even tell stories, so that we help facilitate their heart connection with Baba too, their relationship with Baba.
There is one last question. How can someone discern if they exaggerate of being in a state of joy for seeing their progress after making so much effort and reaching a very satisfied state? Surely there is more sanskars to be cleaned inside, and how can they understand if they continue to move forward in details, refining their sanskars?
I'm sorry, Lewis, I'm not sure I grabbed the essence of that question.
So someone is very satisfied of his or her self-efforts, very joyful, in a state of maybe elation. And so the soul is asking, BK is asking, that there is more to clean. It's not just finished. I can't be just so happy just like that. So how can I make this person realize that?
I'm not sure we can make others realize much at all, but I think it's good if someone is enjoying their Brahman life. Sometimes our bhakti sanskara makes us feel it's just all hard work, it's just too. And so I think it's a good thing if people are really enjoying. I feel I made a decision years ago, I'm going to enjoy this life. This is the only time I can know Baba. If I battle all the time, if it's all hard work, to me, that's my bhakti sanskara, that you only get results when it's hard work. It's tough. But at the same time, this is a life of learning, and we can never, ever stop learning. The greatest virtue is to always be open to learn. And that's, I think, what we all learned from Daddy Janki. Until well into her over 100, she was open to learning at any moment. And so, yes, enjoy the fruits of your efforts, but yes, also keep open to learning. Never stop learning.
Okay, so I think for the sake of our interpreters, it's already an hour and a half. So on behalf of everybody, thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Charlie Bhai. And I suggest we close with a drishti, and everyone can open their cameras. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Lewis. Thank you, Gopi, and thank you, everyone. It's been so lovely to connect with everybody. So
And just for everyone, little message next week, because there is a special program. We won't do any Zoom, so it will be for the following week.